Can you give me the amount that I just did that? Rahman? Was it 555? Okay. No community service. Is it Kendra Weller?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Weller? Are you at the address on Levi in Clarksville?
Yes.
Are you calling from there now?
Yes.
I'm Judge Sara Smolenski, and I'm talking to you on your file D20-01052SM when you got charged with the shoplifting at the Plainfield Meijer on March 27 with Ms. Rahman. Does the case ring a bell?
Yes.
Retail fraud, third degree, is a misdemeanor. It's up to 93 days in jail, up to $500 fine, court costs on top of that. You can plead guilty or not guilty. You can have a trial in front of a judge or a jury. You can have an attorney. If you go forward on your own, it's your decision, not your mom, not your dad, not your family, not Ms. Rahman. It's got to be your decision about how to go forward. If you wanted to have a trial, you could bring in witnesses, cross-examine witnesses, take the stand yourself, be a witness if you wanted to. If you chose not to, your silence cannot be held against you, and you have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Can you think of any questions that you have so far?
No.
Are you on? Yeah, right now. Do you think of any questions? Are you on probation or parole?
No.
No. If there was something you didn't agree with that you wanted to appeal, you're given 3 weeks to appeal a case to the higher court. That's the next higher court is circuit court. We're district court. Understand that, Ms. Weller?
Yes.
That if we go back to March 27, 6 months ago plus, at that Plainfield Meijer, how do you want to plead to the misdemeanor charge called retail fraud, third degree?
Guilty.
Are you pleading guilty by your own decision?
Yes.
Has anybody forced you to plead guilty to this?
No.
Do you remember going to the Plainfield Meijers with your friends that night?
Yes.
Do you remember being inside the Meijer and it was open to the public and you took liquor?
Yes.
Do you remember putting the liquor down your pants?
Yes.
Was the intent, Ms. Weller, so you could just walk out of the store and act like you didn't have the liquor, not pay for it?
Yes.
What was the liquor for? Was it for you?
Yes.
You guys were going to use it yourselves?
Yes.
And you're 17?
Yes. Well, 18.
Are you still 17 or now are you 18?
I'm 19 now.
You're 19? Well, how would you explain it? Like you'd walk into a store and rip them off. What's this about? Why?
Honestly, I don't even know. I felt really uncomfortable in the whole situation because I've never done anything like this before.
Uh-huh.
And I just felt like peer pressured. So in a way, like, I don't know. I've never done anything like this before. And when we got caught or whatever, obviously I felt horrible and was just like, I can't believe I even tried to do that. And I was just very disappointed in myself and in my actions.
Have you told your mom and dad?
Yes.
Do you live with both of them?
I don't have a father figure in my life, so
Uh-huh.
I did tell my mom, and I
Yeah.
lived with her.
Well, I mean, realistically, you're so much smarter than this. I don't even know you. So it's hard to understand. I doubt if your mother ever taught you this.
No, she was.
Go ahead and steal if you want something.
No,
And when you talk about it being so out of character for you, and that's not the way you normally conduct yourself, I'm glad your friends didn't ask you to rob a bank. I hoped you'd have enough sense to say, no, I'm not going to do that. You can talk about peer pressure, but you've got your own decision making. And you've got to use your own common sense and good judgment. Because you're no dummy. Then act accordingly. Because this is what a criminal person does. This is what a thief does. They steal. And if you're telling me you know better, then I'm saying, why did it happen at all? And then it's even odd because you can hardly come up with an explanation, which makes it even more sad, if you ask me. You know better, you're smarter, and you need to act accordingly. On this case, Ms. Weller, you're going to be on probation for 6 months, starting now. You got to be squeaky clean. No criminal cases of any kind. Certainly not I don't care if it's a candy bar. You can't do anything criminal. No stealing, no theft, no assault, no drunk driving, no alcohol. You're underage. Let's get real. It's 93 days suspended jail sentence. You don't serve jail. But if you violate the law or you get arrested, I can give you jail. Do you get how that works?
Yes.
It's a $300 fine. You're on probation for 6 months and you pay $30 a month for the 6 months you're on probation, which is $180. There's a $75 crime victims' right fee in every one of these cases, which adds up to total $555 for a few bottles of liquor. Myers got their liquor back, didn't they?
Yes.
Nothing got broken or damaged or destroyed. True?
True.
I said this once, I'll say it again. I don't know you, but I think you're so much smarter than how you acted. That's what is disappointing if I was your mother. Think about what you need to do. It's disappointing to you, and you're the one that did it. So get yourself back on track. This doesn't define who you are unless you let it. Do you understand?
Yes.
The probation department will be in contact with you to set up a payment plan on how you're going to pay that.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And we'll be sending the information to the address that you're at on Levi. So just look for your mail. It's all going to be done virtually, through the mail, through email, like that. Okay?
Okay.
All right, that's it. Thanks a lot. You can disconnect, Ms. Weller.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Mr. James Utrup? You'll want to unmute yourself. Join audio. That's it.
No, I did unmute. I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yes, I'm
That's
here.
fine. How do you say your last name?
It is pronounced Utrup.
So I said it right, Utrup.
That's correct.
So Mr. Utrup, you're before the court on a case that goes back to November 1, 2019 through the month of November, when they claim there were incidences at your property on Rollingwood in Rockford where you allowed underage people to have alcohol. They're mostly focusing on this Stephanie Morrow, who's allegedly the biological daughter of your partner. True?
That's correct. That's right.
So the charge is called furnishing or supplying or selling alcohol to minors. It's a misdemeanor. It's up to 60 days in jail, up to a $1,000 fine, and community service can be ordered. You have the right to plead guilty or not guilty, Mr. Utrup. You have the right to have a trial where you can bring in witnesses, cross-examine witnesses, take the stand yourself, be a witness if you wanted to. If you chose not to, your silence cannot be held against you. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If you go forward on your own, it has to be your decision. You won't have an attorney, you won't have a trial. If you give up your right to have a trial, you give up those rights I talked about, bringing in witnesses, cross-examining witnesses, taking the stand yourself. There is no trial at all if you plead guilty, and you give up your right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So far, Mr. Utrup, can you think of any questions that you have?
I do not.
Are you currently on probation or parole right now?
I am not.
Do you have cases in any other courts?
I do not.
If you were going to go forward on this and you felt there was something you wanted to appeal, you're given 21 days, 3 weeks, after being sentenced to appeal to a higher court. Do you understand that?
I do understand that.
Any questions about that?
No questions.
If we're going back in time to November of 2019, we're talking almost a year ago, during some period of time when your partner wasn't at the property but the kids were, how do you want to plead to the charge of furnishing alcohol to a minor?
Guilty, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty by your own decision?
That is my decision.
Has anyone forced or threatened you in any way to plead to this?
No.
This incident that they're talking about, where you had to be questioned by the police, your son, your biological son is Nathan?
That is correct.
He had to be questioned by the police. How old is he?
He is now 16 at the time he was 15.
Okay. And this Stephanie was 17 at the time, now 18?
Correct. No, this was right after her 18th birthday.
And your partner is her biological mother?
That is correct.
Are you still partners with her?
We are.
And your age is in your 40s?
I am 43. Was 42.
43? And your partner is similar age?
She's 36.
Uh-huh. So when this incident occurred, and obviously you're aware through all the interviews and questioning that there was a huge concern that there was some inappropriate sexual activity that occurred, you know that that's the time period they're talking about with reference to you being under the influence of liquor and this Stephanie being under the influence of liquor. Do you understand?
I do understand that.
And they zeroed it down to a weekend or whatever. I don't know if it's a weekend, but some time period where you, your son Nathan, and Stephanie, just the three of you, were home without Stephanie's mother, who was allegedly at her sister's. I don't know if that's another city or some other location. She wasn't going to be there for the evening. She'd be gone for the night, correct?
That's correct.
And Stephanie indicated that you allowed her to have alcohol and even poured her glasses of alcohol. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and then being part of the statement, yes.
Do you remember telling the police that you admitted to offering her alcohol, be it tequila, vodka, some kind of hard liquor?
Yes, I do remember telling him that. That was.
Do you remember, was there ever any discussion of whether you gave your son or your, for lack of a better way to say it, stepdaughter, Stephanie, any drugs?
She, in a statement, they said they had an allegation of it, which is completely untrue. And
Okay.
my son verified that. All whatever else, we don't do drugs in our household.
My inquiry was whether you had ever given her any drugs.
No.
Okay. And have you ever been charged with any drug offenses yourself?
Many years ago, I was, yes. That's part of the reason why we don't do it in my house, because I know how dangerous they are. How much it almost.
You're 42 now.
Mm-hmm.
What was the age? You said you're 42, correct?
I'm 43 now, was 42 at the time of the occurrence.
Okay, all right. So what was the age time? What was your age at the time you personally were charged with any drug offenses through the
Early
court
20s.
system?
Early 20s.
Early 20s?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever have a felony?
Yes.
Okay. And when you would be involved in playing whatever card game you guys were playing, would you offer alcohol to your son?
No.
Why were you offering alcohol to the Stephanie person?
She asked. And then I said, okay, and I allowed it.
So you're like the dad figure, and you've been like the dad figure since she was an infant?
No. I have known the children since they were that age. But me and her mother have only been together for the last 7 years. And until
7?
Yes, and until
So say the kid was 10 years old when you got involved in her life?
Yes, sort of. Yes and no. It's a kind of a complicated situation. We'll kind of explain to the police, whoever else. When I first started dating her mother, Stephanie was living with her mother. Shortly thereafter, she ended up in a juvenile facility, and then she ended up in a couple of psychiatric wards. And when she came then in foster care, when she came out of foster care, she actually lived with her father until April of 2019, when they had a blowout and he disappeared, took off to Indiana, left her with his current girlfriend, refused to talk to her, still does. We don't know what the whole situation there is. And she called her
Okay.
mom saying, hey, I need a place to
Okay,
live.
okay, I got enough. That's enough that I need from that. But what I wanted to inquire was, and I know I'm cutting you off, but it's getting too off-centered.
Sorry.
Are you right now living with your son Nathan?
I am.
And does the mother of Stephanie live there too?
Yes, she does.
Is it still the Rollingwood address in Rockford?
Yes, it is.
Stephanie does not live there, correct?
Correct.
When is the last time that you personally had contact with Stephanie?
Would have been early April.
April of 2020?
Correct.
Okay. And prior to April of 2020, since this allegation goes back to November a year ago, there was a lengthy period of time that you had no contact, correct?
Since that time since that April timeframe of this year, yes.
Would it be from November to April of this year?
No, November to April, she was still living with us.
Okay. So she moved out in April?
Late April, yeah.
Okay. So it's been since April that you've had any contact with her?
Correct. No verbal, written, or physical, or no in-person contact.
And that's by her choice?
Not necessarily whatever else. She would talk to me, whatever else, but I was told not to have any contact with her.
Oh, yes. Okay, I appreciate that. Right now, is Child Protective Services involved in anything with your family?
No.
When you look back on this and you heard the allegations, I get that you didn't agree with all of them, but you know that morning, the next morning, you know the allegations of her being in your room, partly clothed.
I do.
You look back on this and realize that the alcohol issue for both you and her was really a poor idea?
Yes, I do.
And you're the parent figure. I don't care that you're not the biological parent. And I don't get how you make a decision to not give it to him, but you give it to her. My point is, you're the parent. You're supposed to be the one to make the proper decision about what is appropriate or not, let alone what's legal or not. It's illegal for her to drink alcohol, whether you give it or she gets it with her friends.
Correct.
You get that? What do you do for a living, Mr. Utrup?
My business title is a operations and business engineer. I work for a company called Hearthside Food Solutions, which is a contract food manufacturer. We have plants all across the United States and Europe.
Right now, has that been a job you've held a long time?
Absolutely. Almost 18 years. Almost 18 years.
All right. Ours is going to be a 6-month non-reporting probation. You don't come in, you won't be contacted unless you get arrested, charged with a criminal offense, or don't pay your fines. It's a $500 fine, $180 is the fee for probation, $75 crime victims' right fee, for a total of $755, which is a lot of money I get. This is only dealing with providing alcohol to a minor. Any questions that you have for me?
As I heard in the previous case, I was sitting in the back listening. I can arrange payment plans with the probation office for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Can they contact you at the Rollingwood address in Rockford?
Yes, they can.
Then look for your mail. That's how they'll connect with you.
Okay, sounds good. That's the only question I have.
All right. Thank you for connecting with Zoom. We're through then. Thank you for your courtesy.
Thank you.
Okay.